everybody, Darren here, back with episode 4 of the Kittyhawk 1/32 scale RF-5E Tigereye build review. And today I'm working on the part that makes the Tigereye, and that's the camera system and optional nose for this kit. I started working on it this morning, and I got to tell you, I wasn't real impressed. It's a pretty simple setup here. There's not much detail to it. As a matter of fact, I put the camera together and took a picture of it, and here's a picture of it right here. Look at this is what you would be seeing through the glass underneath the nose of this kit. You look down here at step 7 of the instructions, and you'll see that it's very basic. It's a little camera pod up here. It looks like a film canister and some sort of control deal, and it goes in straight, and then when you flip it over, all you get is this bottom side. And here's another picture of it. A huge gap. The mold wasn't real good, and there's just no detailing at all. So what I decided to do was to break out some of my spare parts boxes. I've got a couple old kits here that's got old plastic in it. Scratch build a couple boxes, add a little wiring, and hey, do I have some extra photo etch laying around? Maybe we can use that as well. And what did I come up with? This is where I'm at now. This is the bottom of the camera piece now, and I'm not done. I've got a couple, and what I'm going to show you today is how I was wiring this, but I've got a couple more wires to put in here, and I want to connect the actual camera with some wiring. So that's what I'm going to be showing you today, and then I'm going to go ahead and paint it and start detailing it, and we'll go from there. So let me mock the nose up here real quick, and I'll show you what it looks like under glass, and then I will get into putting a piece of wire on here and show you how I did that. So stand by. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've dry fitted the nose together, put the glass on. Now keep in mind that this glass is going to be masked off, and there's going to be some frames around the glass, so really what you're going to see through here is minimal. But if you look down here now at what we've got, you'll see that there's a lot more detail in here. Now I'm biased. I did the work on this thing, and I think it looks pretty good. Is it accurate? No, it's not accurate. Could I find reference photos for the camera system up underneath the nose? No, I couldn't. But it is a lot more interesting looking at that. Here, let me take the glass off again. Looking at this than it is looking at, here's the picture again. Here's the picture. This or this. So once I get this painted, I think it's going to even look even better. So now what do I use? I used a couple pieces of scratch photo etch that I found. Looked like a canopy frame. I found another piece actually off the Edward kit that I bought for this kit to make a box. I made one box by scratch, or from scratch, and then that's really it. Oh, a piece of an F1 race car that just looked like some nice little black boxes, and I added those in there. And this black piece right here. So this was the last piece I put in here. Now Will Patterson has a really good tutorial on how to use this stuff, and I'm not going to get into the nuts and bolts of it. I'll link his video here in the card up here above. You can go check that out, and it really gets in depth on how to use some of this stuff. The tools that I'm using, or some of the stuff that I'm using, is my lead wire. This is a multi-pack that I bought off of Amazon. Matter of fact, got all this off Amazon. This is something that I got from Will's tutorial, and this is from Heartline's dubbing. This is the tubing, this fly fishing tubing, minge, micro, and standard. Minge is, I guess, they're medium size, and that's what I'm actually using now. So I'm using those. Aluminum rod. This is a standard sign from Albion Alloys here. Again, I got this off of Amazon. 0.3, 0.5, 0.7, 0.9 millimeter slide fit. Just, you know, little things. And these little drill bits are your friend. You're going to need them. Here's some of the old, you know, junk. Don't ever throw your photo etch away. You never know when you're going to need it for something like this. So let me set this stuff aside here, and I'm going to put together a tube. Just show you real quick how I did it, and we'll get that part done, and then I'm going to finish up the wiring for this thing. There's not much left to do because, as you saw, you can't see much under the glass, so I'm almost finished. And then I'm going to get this painted and do a little detail work on it, and you can see what it looks like once I'm done. So quick break, and let me get set up for this next piece of wire, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here is our camera system. I said I've run a couple of little lead wires in here. You think you could pick those up. And then I ran one of the big cables, and that's what I'm going to show you guys now, is how I ran the big cable. The lead wire is pretty self-explanatory. You know, you're running lead wire and using tape as clamps and putting it down. But one of the things I really like about the tubing is you can run the lead wire through it. Now here's a little piece. You can see I was actually able to run the lead wire through there, and what happens now is whenever you make that turn, it really holds its shape. It really does good. So that's what we're going to do now. Tools you'll need, like I said, I've already cut mine. I've got my minge tubing here, and I've got my 0.15 lead wire, and I've already pre-cut that stuff here. I've also pre-cut myself some tape. These are going to be my clamps, hold down, and I've pre-cut inside here my tubing, which is going to give us our little simulated connector. So the first thing I'm going to do, I put them inside this little deal here so I don't lose them all, but is I'm going to run my lead wire through the tubing here. And it's always a good idea to just roll this stuff out flat, like so. Okay. Get it nice and straight. And then this point 0.15 goes right through this minge tubing with no problem. It's like threading a needle though. And I don't have my optivisor on, so but it does go in there. So there we go. So it slides right through there just like a syringe. And there we go. So the goal here is I've already pre-drilled this, and what I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to run a cable from the simulated box up to the camera. Now the camera is going to be separate, but I've already pre-drilled the holes here, as you can see, and I pre-drilled my holes on this side here as well. So you can see that on the side right here, I can go ahead and slide that in there. There, I'll bring you in here a little bit closer so you can see what I'm talking about. So there's a little hole there, and that slides right in there. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and get our little lead tubing here. We'll slide that over first. Okay. Like so. And what that does is gives us a little connector looking deal. I'm going to take my glue, and I like this thick gel glue, especially for this job because it really gets in there. I'll put that on there and really just slide that in there and let it set up. And I'm going to let this set up. I'm going to hold it while it sets, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so here is the cable installed into the box, and I made a little clamp here out of tape. This is going to go into the camera. I've already pre-drilled the holes there. Now you're not going to be able to see this. You'll see this is the actual nose section, and there are three holes there. This goes into the first two here, like so, and then the camera goes in that nose, the first one up front. So from the bottom, you're not going to be able to see it. So I'm not going to make any clamps for this piece. I'm just going to go ahead and run it in there so that it is there and secured, not just flopping around. And it's pretty simple. Matter of fact, I'm not even going to put a connector on it. I'm going to take my little shears here. I'm going to go ahead and nip this off like so. And what I would do is just add a little glue to that and then stick it in there. And I'm going to wait now. I'll put that in there just before I close this stuff up. I'm going to go ahead and paint these. So I'll run another cable for the other side. Probably run out of this side of the box. And that's about all I'm going to do. So let me go ahead and run that other cable on the other side, clean a few things up, and I'm going to go ahead and prime this here with some Stynylrez and go ahead and get ready to start painting this. And I'll come back and show you what it looks like once I'm done. Okay, so I've got her all painted up. Went on and shot the Stynylrez in there, got it primed, carried it on one step further, detailed up, painted some of the boxes, did a little dry brushing, painted the wiring, and I think it looks fairly convincing. I think it's going to look really good under glass. So if you'll pop on down here and look at the bottom, I'll show you what we've got here. Matter of fact, let me zoom this camera in just a little bit, and you'll see I've got half of it off. So now this is where the glass goes. It's here on the top. So out of all this internal here, that little section basically is all you're going to end up seeing under the glass. And the glass itself has 4 frames that are going to be masked off. So you got 4 window frames. Together, once we put these two sides together, it's all painted black inside. Pop this on here real quick. It actually goes together fairly well. The front camera piece in there lined up. There it goes. I'll go ahead and tape that so it doesn't move around on us. Always good to have a little tape laying around just in case you got to do this, mock stuff up. And with these kits, test fitting is a must. And I would say test fit, test fit, test fit. You know, I'm always going 3 or 4 steps ahead and looking at things. And I'm going to explain that here in a minute with the intakes, because that's going to be the next episode. I'm going to kind of give you a prelude to that. But anyhow, back to the internals here. So you'll see here, I think that is looking pretty good. You know, once it's all under glass, and I'll polish that up, but it's going to look really, really convincing. It's going to be visually interesting. It's going to be something for the eye to see. So don't be afraid to, you know, like I said, get into your spare parts boxes, and just let your imagination go wild a little bit. Sometimes you don't always have the reference pictures. So a little artist discretion is advised or authorized. Just, you know, convincing. let me know what you think about it in the comments below. What would you have done differently? You know, I know there's resin pieces out there, and I could find little pictures of resin pieces, but even from the pictures I saw there, I couldn't make out what really was what. So with the lack of references, how would you have tackled it? I'm really like to know. So put it in the comments. And if you don't like what I did, hey, let me know what you think I did wrong. I'm a big boy. I can take it. That'll just chalk me up with information and ideas for the next one I do. So there you go. So that's another section. That's another section completed. I've got now what we've got. I've got the cockpit here, and I'm still tinkering a little bit on it here and there, but it is pretty much finished. I'm waiting on my remove before flight tags to come in. There's very few little pieces left to go in here, and then I can seal this up, put my HUD back on it. It's sitting over here, but put that back on, and that'll be ready. I've got the nose piece ready. Now this nose piece is not going to get painted in here because I'm going to be taking these doors. Notice I've already cut the clamps off, but all the doors I'm going to have on this are going to be shut, not opened. So it's almost ready. I will put some weight back on this side, nose weight. The canopy is all together, primed, painted on the inside, needs to be weathered. Got the mirrors all on, and over here I've actually got the standby compass wired up, and it's ready to go in. Got the clamps and everything, and it's gonna go off into not on the canopy, I'm sorry, the windscreen. It'll apply on the windscreen and go off into the dash. So that's ready to go, and that leads me to what our next episode is going to be, and that's going to be the lack of intakes on this kit. I reached out to Mike Reeves at Phase Hanger, and he has come through. I've got the, down here you'll see, let me zoom this back out a little bit so everybody can read that. But I've got the full length, full depth intakes, and I bought the exhaust nozzles, both. So more money into the kit to make it right, but it is what it is. And on this side here, you'll see I've got this fit into place. You can see the intake going through, and I got my resin exhaust on here, and this is all just mocked up. I don't know if you can see in here real well. We'll try, but I don't know that the light's gonna let you see in there. It's yeah, it's just not gonna focus. But I got a whole video coming dedicated to these because, as Mike told me, elbow grease required. These are not a drop-in place, drop fit. There's a lot of sanding required. You'll see here in this box, they come in 2 pieces. They are very thick, and they have got to be sanded down and fit into the recess of the intake here to sit flush. So they take a lot of work, they take a lot of time, and but I think it's going to be well worth it. You see here, these almost fit better than the other side, but it does push the intake out when you slide it in there. So it's going to take a little bit of time, but I'm going to show that to you, and I think it's going to come out really good. So that's where we are. What else? I think that's going to be it for this episode. So stick around. Do me a favor, if you enjoy these reviews, then please do me a favor and hit subscribe. If you think there's something that needs a little work or something else you'd like to see me do, put it in the comments below. I'm doing this for you guys, not for me, you know. So if you, I hope you're enjoying it, and again, if you want to see something specific, then, you know, let me know. Other than that, cheers, it's Yingling time, and we'll be back with intakes and a lot more beer on the next one. Thanks again. Oh, good night.